Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and we're doing a study today, and this is called Meadow at Dusk. It's a 5x7, and it's one of these orphans I was mentioning last week when we did another orphan. I thought, what the heck, I'm home for lunch right now, and I thought, yeah, okay, I like this painting. I have actually painted it before, the scene, with a different sky, and I did that one as a 5x7 and an 8x10, and it kind of went the same way. I think I was pretty happy with the 5x7, but not so happy with the 8x10, and then I thought I'd give it a go again, and it's a photo based on a photo I took probably back in 2011 or so, and kind of the same thing. I did the 5x7. I'm actually quite happy with this little painting, but I'm not doing it larger. I don't think it's going to be awesome, and so we have an orphan, and I'm throwing it in because, like I said, I am happy with the 5x7, and it works, but I don't know if this is going to work at a larger size. It might. I reserve the right to maybe one day take it on. Funny enough, I have a, I've been doing in the studio. I started doing drawings for my next pass of larger paintings, and I had 5 boards selected, and then I thought, well, I really want to do a vertical. And I had done a couple of vertical studies in the last pass of 5x7s I did, and but the last couple of days I've been thinking about the 2 scenes that I've done as verticals, and again they're pretty okay as 5x7s, but I just don't know if it's going to look good as well. 11x14 would have been the size. I have a board prepared, and I keep going back and forth all day, and I thought, well, I'll just think about it at lunchtime and make a decision, and we'll see when I get back if I'm gonna do the underpainting for it. And I'm laughing because sometimes when I can't actually I'm actually really good at making decisions, so I'm not one of these people that doesn't know how to make up their mind easily, but there are times I really don't know what to do, and there's a site I go to online called the Yes or No Oracle, and you type your question in and you click the button and it says yes or no, and so I just did that right before starting this video, and it's like no, and I'm like, okay, good, no. I'm not gonna do it. I'll put that board aside and I'll do another painting on it another day. That's just how it is. I could. The thing is like some scenes really are just everything about them's awesome, and some scenes are awesome because you added some element. Maybe they have a certain coloration, or maybe they have something about them that's just making them awesome. But normally I think it's composition, really good composition, that will make a painting awesome, and then you got to follow up on that with good values and good color and all the other neat things that would add up to a great painting. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that some scenes I know they're going to be great even when I'm out taking the photograph that I'm going to use to base the painting on, and some I can make pretty dang good, even if the scene itself is sort of mediocre. I think this is one of those. This is not a super inspiring composition. It's kind of a lone tree composition with another little clump of trees in the side, and I think the issue that I have with this larger is it's really just going to be all about that tree, even though I've tried several times to compensate for that with a super colorful, awesome sky, and that's I'm happy with the way the sky turned out on this, and it's probably the reason I'm sharing it today. But Like I've stated in previous videos, this year I'm trying to be more discerning and more content with just having these orphan 5x7 studies around that I didn't actually develop into larger paintings, and thereby sort of improving the quality of my larger paintings overall. So having less dogs, less stinkers, and or in some cases just less paintings that aren't amazingly great. I want a lot of really good ones, and that's always my goal. And so I have all these various strategies for accomplishing that, and I know I've talked about that on the blog before. Like I said yesterday, I jumped into doing underpaintings. I did about 3 or 4 underpaintings yesterday, and as I said I was going to do, I based my underpaintings on the studies and not my photographic reference. And there was one case where there's my getting a text, I guess, from somewhere. There was one case, it's a reminder, I see, where the scene itself has kind of got some oddness to it that I kind of resolved in the study, as you do. And so, but there was still a bit of oddness even in the study. In general, it's a pretty successful little painting, and I think it'll make a successful larger painting. But there was a case where I basically did the underpainting and then loaded up the photo reference into my monitor there, and kind of brought some of that into the underpainting as well. And so I think that was a good strategy. I didn't actually need to do that on any of the underpaintings. I'm really happy with the underpaintings, just based on the studies. Now the question is, will I go in with that first color pass? Will I be looking at the photo reference, or continue to just move on with the study as my only reference? And I'm inclined to load up that reference, and that's but also kind of keep that study around. I just off the corner of my eye, I have a problem looking at the study as reference and the photographic reference at the same time. I feel like I'm serving two masters. I get a little kind of confused, I guess, and it's just not easy. But I want to. I'm working on it. I guess that's where I'm at. I will say that how the underpainting is done has a really big effect on how the painting goes. There's some deviation. If there's things that aren't addressed or proper, I clearly will fix them as I go, as I'm laying in my color. But that underpainting has all the shapes and the spots they're going to be, and a lot of the values have been set up, and most importantly, the composition has been kind of locked in, and I don't tend to deviate from that much while I'm painting the color pass. So just having the composition worked out, and there's certainly a greater level of abstraction that's happened with me. I've already abstracted the scene one time by doing the study, and then it gets a bit more abstracted by doing a drawing or underpainting from that study at a larger size. And I think that's a good thing. That's sort of one thing I'm looking for this year. I've gone on at length about photo reference in my blog, and there's a lot of good painters that just go outdoors. Don't worry about using photos at all, and there's a lot of good reasons to do that, as I've discussed. There's so many traps inherent with using photos that even somebody who's an experienced painter as myself can fall into those traps, even knowing everything I know. So then again, this is one of the reasons why I decided to concentrate on landscape painting, sort of to finish off my career as an artist, and that could be for another 30 years, God willing. So God willing, if I'm healthy. If I'm not, I just as soon go, but that's an issue for another day, because I am healthy and I'm able to work, and that's really what makes my day and what I love to do. Um, so I've got. I'm gonna get back in the studio today. By the way, it's Tuesday here. I'm sure I'll probably put this up. I'm gonna have to do a corresponding blog post tomorrow. This is the 31st of January, folks. So last day in January. So far, it's been a pretty awesome year, I have to say. Um, I'm real happy with how things have been going. And the thing is, when things are going good, you always want to keep them going good, and that's what I'm all about. Anyway, let's see. We're getting close to the end here. If you haven't been to my website, it's landscapepainter.co.nz. There's some paintings there. There's actually, if you dig around in my blog archive, you can find there are some links to what I call secret areas of the site, because they're not directly tied into the navigation from the bar for the website. But there are pages there with a lot of old paintings, and I have put links up to those in my blog in the past. I don't know where you'd have to find them, but they're still there. You can dig around if you're curious or not. It's fine. I do kind of freshen up the site itself with images once a year or so. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you on the weekend, I guess, with another one of the 25 Days of Tonalism. Meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.